I've learned a lot from you, and I don't think you know that really, like how much. Like I've learned a lot from you.
I feel like that with you. I feel like I wanted to change my life because I would see how you maneuvered your way around life, and I was like, no, like I gotta do this. Like I see you as such a balanced and so down to earth and genuine, and I'm like I aspire to be the most genuine. So meeting people and being around people that are even more genuine, like that I see in my eyes, I'm like, I gotta be more like that. Like you inspire me to be a better person because sometimes in this world you don't come across people like that. So being around your energy, I was like, oh no, like what life am I living? Like I need to be on your level. You introduced me to morning yoga, bedtime yoga. I was like, I need to start taking care of myself because I see that you take care of yourself and it makes me want to take care of myself like even more. And then you got me the book for Secret Santa, and it changed my whole entire life. So I just feel like there's so much I learned from you without even having to hear you speak.
That makes me very happy. Like to hear you say that, like me, seeing me take care of myself makes you want to take care of yourself better. Like I feel like that's the type of friendships I want. I've learned a lot from you about my self-consciousness and that I deserve to like let who I am behind closed doors be a thing in the world. And you know, like the saying, whatever happens in the dark will must come to light. I kind of think of that as a good thing now because there's so much that I do in the dark that defines who I am that people don't get to see. And I really, really want that to be a thing in the world one day and soon. And I think what I aspire to be like, as far as you, is that fierceness and that that like you have this switch and it's so I think one of my favorite things about you is that like you maneuver in this like I'm powerful, you know, I'm sexy, I'm fun, I have a message and I'm not afraid to speak my mind and I dance my ass off, you know? But like you also are very much like me too, and like you have your days, you know, like it's natural for you, and it just shows how much you've developed that fierce side of you. Like it wasn't like, of course it was there, but sometimes the world can be very intimidating, and I feel like you've like developed that within time over the past few years, and it gives me hope. You obviously have worked hard to be where you are today. And I feel like it gives me hope that within the next few years, you know, I could be fierce. I could be all these things that I want to be, you know, and it's like you don't have to subject to what society expects for you to be. Because just our appearances alone, people expect us to be certain things. People expect us to sound a certain way when we open our mouths.
It's funny like that you say that because like with the project that I'm working with right now, there's like a section in it that's like a part of me that I feel like people or society aren't expecting from me because of this fierceness that I carry. And it's so natural for me. But there's a part of me that's so like vulnerable. And I feel like I never get to be that person because society doesn't see me as that person. On social media, I'm very much seen as like really serious and empowered. And I want to empower people, but it's not my reality in a sense because the real me is like very like clumsy and goofy and like I'm actually more sensitive than I ever thought I ever could be, but I'm just so like I guess tough because like I think that comes from a defense mechanism of mine whereas like I want to first come off as you can't fuck with me or I'm going to cut your head off before people have the initial intent to be like, oh, let me approach her. Because sometimes people come with bad energy, and I really have created this shield around myself where it's like, I'm going to let you believe what you want, but I'm ready to now talk about who I really am as like beyond being like Melance or bad bitch or whatever the case may be. Like I'm not always her. Like I never wear makeup. I'm always laughing. I'm never serious. I'm actually a crybaby. I be crying over Disney movies. Like I have a lot of feelings and people don't think I have feelings.
I'm grateful to be able to get to know you in that way because I know that's like something that you're like, and like you fight back tears before you let them roll down. You know what I mean? So I want you to know that I'm here, and I'm very grateful that you allowed me to be. We have the hidden being that like nobody else sees, and like our friends get a dose of it. You know, our family got a dose of it when we were younger, but you know, it's something that we protect. You know, and I didn't realize that like the more older I get, I try to protect my hidden being, which can be like my childlike self, my inner artist from the world. Cause like it's you learn things and you're like, wait, I don't want you out here like that. I don't want you to get destroyed. I don't want you to lose your confidence. Let's stay indoors together so I can enjoy you on my own and nobody else can see you. And then at a certain point, it becomes unfair, you know? Do you think that a little bit of it has to do with like bits of us, the special real bits of us not being accepted when we were children?
I'm going to say yes because when I think about this hidden being, my hidden being is like vulnerable and like I actually want to be loved and cared for because like a lot of times like my friends would tell me like damn like you don't even want to give me a hug like and I'm just like it's not me like I promise like it's not that I want to push you away is that like when I was young being pushed away was what I knew love to be like you know what like yeah I love you but like you're doing too much, you're annoying like you know like and it was always like why are you always crying? Like, you're such a crybaby. You cry for everything. Why are you so dramatic? And it was kind of like if I felt something, it was like it was wrong to feel it. It was no, you're not supposed to feel like that. Even if I was not even in the wrong, even if somebody came and like stole my lunch, oh, it's your fault, you know, like, or if I wanted to play with my own cousins, my cousins would deny me. Like it was kind of that thing where it's like me being such a nice person got taken advantage of because I don't know why that happens. I think it's rare to find people with such genuine simplicity that we forget how to take care of those people and instead of like take advantage of them. And I feel like because I was such a naturally nice, sweet person, everyone ran over me. Like no one wanted to just be mushy gushy with me. And then I grew up to be very hard and not being mushy with new people. And then everyone's trying to break this shell that wasn't even created by me, but was created by other people who told me that this was the right way to live. So now I'm trying to protect my vulnerable self because I was denied all those times when I was young. Like, hey, I love you, but I don't want to hug you, or I love you, but I don't need to tell you every day. Sometimes, like, sometimes I think that's what love is. Like, yes, remind me. Like, yes, remind me that you love me, even on a day that I don't know. Like, or reassure me, or like, yes, hug me, or cuddle with me, or watch a movie with me, spend time with me. I think when I was young, nobody wanted to be with me. And I was like, I felt very unwanted. And then I completely shut out. And I'm still working on that.
It costs us something. I'm proud of you. You're bearing yourself of the projection. Sometimes I feel like I've been talking about this too much lately. And you know, when you don't want to like sound like you're victimizing yourself. But it's like, when do we get to tell our story?
I think that's why our hidden beings are actually artists. And I feel like artistry is such an easy way to express emotions, express healing, express energy. Like it's so easy. for you to, let's say if I was a singer, like for you to hear me sing, and then like let's say like Demi Lovato, in her voice you could feel, like I love her as a singer because you could feel that, like when she's singing Stone Cold, you can feel that. When she's singing Anyone, you can feel that. And it comes from life experiences, and it comes from that being inside of us that was like, damn, like this took a toll on me one day, or this impacted my life in some sort of way. And you make it into art. And I feel like that's why art is so easily transmitted to other people's understanding, because it's like, oh, I feel that, like when music plays like a certain instrument, I'm like, oh, I feel that, like it takes you somewhere. And I feel like that's why it's so important to create and to let ourselves be artists, because our hidden beings don't, honestly, our beings ourselves, because of so many society standards, we don't really know how to express ourselves. We don't know which emotions are right or wrong, because of the fact that we grew up being told this is wrong, this is right, and then for real, it was never wrong or right. No, your left is not my left. Your right is not my right. So what is really left or right? When we do things like this, like when we have conversations, or when we dance, or when we sing, or when we act, we get to tell our story, like our hidden beings, like they come to play, like they come to be like, oh, it's my time to shine, and because sometimes our hidden beings are fearless. And then, like remember when we was playing Among Us, and you were the killer, and you were acting so good, and that person that you were acting like was super fierce, and you're talking about, I want to be fierce. You were so fierce in that fucking game, like, and it's funny because that was like like a hidden factor of you, and it was mysterious, and it was fun, and we was on the edge of our seats because we was like, what is going on? And I was like, damn, Daryl is really on this game, like, and I feel like that that is just another part of us that is just so ready to come out. And it's until we let ourselves play, it's until we're playing games, it's until we're doing art, it's until we're drawing or acting or singing, like that's when this hidden person comes out of nowhere, and you're like, oh shit, I never knew I had that much energy.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's like that's our chance to like be who we really want to be, and like playing the games is when we get to do that. That's interesting. That's really really interesting. I want to talk about something that you mentioned before we started recording. Your shadow self and like the battle and like the things we talk about all the time, like the things that the conversations we have with ourselves in our heads, and just like the whole back and forth thing.
So I've been creating this piece. It's me trying to find a union between my shadow self, my younger self, and my higher self, because sometimes we kind of separate ourselves into multiple selves, and I believe that we do have multiple selves. But sometimes when we start to think as like, oh, I have so much anxiety, oh, I have so much anger, or like, oh, I'm going through this, that, and the fourth, there's certain parts of ourselves that is dedicated to those beings that we have within ourselves. And I feel like most of us are battling our shadow, where ego is formed, where fear, doubt, anxiety, depression, like that is the thought in the back of our mind that's telling us like, no, you need to quit now, you're not enough, you look dumb, everyone's judging you, you judge other people, you're a hypocrite, like all these things from our shadow that we don't realize is formulated by the voice of other people that has now turned into the voice of our own selves. And it's not even because we're trying to hurt ourselves or manipulate ourselves. It's because ourselves are looking for attention to heal that part of ourselves that someone else left, like that destruction that somebody else left in our hearts to tell us that we weren't enough. That doesn't come from me, that came from somebody else. But now me tells me, you're not enough. Where did I come up with that? I never told myself that, but somebody else did. And now my shadow's like, you're not enough. And now I have to speak to my shadow and go back like, hey, like, you didn't get that from me. You don't believe that about yourself, do you? And when you start to question your shadow and you start to have conversations with your shadow, the point of the shadow being given attention, they start to back down. Like now they start to be like like now it's like ease in this understanding that we coexist, my higher self and my shadow self and my younger self can exist and be all as equally valuable, and no one being a hierarchy. Because sometimes we give, it's like split. You know how like one takes the mic or whatever. It's like with higher self, shadow self, and younger self, I feel like I'm seeking where we can all live in unity and just let life be what life is instead of being like manipulated by our own selves and getting in our way of our own selves and letting other people do that for us. It's actually really crazy. And I feel like I sound insane too.
I get exactly what you mean. And I think a lot of it stemmed from mental abuse, verbal abuse. Um, I was thinking about recently, like how when we're born, we are literally these beings that know nothing. We don't know a thing except we're in some place, right? And then we start learning communication and language and words. And it's always from the people who we are around. So I'm learning how to like be my friend. And like I used to talk down on myself really bad, like really, really bad. And I think that it numbed my parts of my brain. And I know that sounds dramatic.
I think that's like super interesting because as you said that too, I went into realization like, oh, me too, And it's funny when you say like numbing parts of like your brain because I feel that. Like, I know it does sound a little dramatic, but like there was a point where I disconnected myself from myself. Like, I don't know what part of myself was disconnected, whether it was my heart or my mind or my soul, but there was a big huge part of me that felt emptiness, like that felt like I didn't care about nothing. I didn't have feelings about nothing. I just and it became an excessive use of vices. Like I was just deep into doing all this crazy stuff and I thought it was normal because I was like, you know what, I'm here to have fun. I'm here for a good time, not a long time, like, like, and I was so empty, and I was so empty hiding behind the biggest smile that I ever had, thinking that what I was doing was okay because it was fun and it was dangerous and it was thrilling, but I was just lacking so much emotion and so much purpose that I didn't even realize that because of so much of what I was accustomed to, I became like all of those things like wrapped up into one. And I tried to find myself diving deeper into what people were telling me I was. Like, I think I did a really good job at being the person everybody wanted me to be. And then when I stopped being that person, I lost direction. And it's funny when you say, like, I was accustomed to living like this, So I then became my own bully because it's true. Because when I no longer had a sense of direction for who I wanted to be because I didn't want to listen to nobody. And now I'm serving the consequence of also, then who am I? I was like lost and dreading and like so much nonsense and like the craziest parts of my life. And I was experiencing so much horribleness and so many horrible people that I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, and it's crazy because I think we do come to this world with information, but it's like as we grow, I don't know where that information goes, but I don't think it ever leaves. But I don't think we have the right articulation to even express it yet, because I think babies are very smart.
I feel like the knowledge that you're talking about is something that only we have. So like nobody else can justify it for us. You know? Like we all have some kind of something, but like it's personal to us. And maybe it comes from our creator. You know, and I know we define our own purpose. But yeah, I think you're right. Because where did my liking to some of the special things in my life come from?
I think we like everything. I personally think that we like everything because everything in this world is made for it to be valued. And I think I I'm good at a lot of things. Like you put me in a baseball team or a softball team. You put me in a hockey team. You put me as a background dancer. You put me as the lead singer. You put me as a lip sync battle, like in a lip sync battle. Like I'm gonna be the best that I could be in those, moments of experience. And I feel like I love to do everything, but there's just certain things that I feel like so attached to, like dance. I feel so like this is mine, but everything else can be mine too. I like to draw. Like one time I just picked up a pencil and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just mimic what I see because that's how I learned how to dance. I was like, I'm going to mimic what I see. And it actually came out so good. And I was like, oh, I can draw. I didn't know I can draw. And I used to love to draw when I was like younger, but I wasn't drawing like that. But I used to be so into coloring and stuff like that. And then like I used to love dressing up and acting and playing with my Barbies. I used to write scripts. Like I was in that. And and I think that it's all made for us to experience and to touch.
I sketch now. Um, I started sketching. Julia Cameron from The Artist Way encouraged me to start sketching. One of my tasks was like go to an art supply store, get a sketchbook, and just sketch around New York. And she was like, the summer she was 21, she sketched around New York, and I'm 21, summertime's coming, so I was like, hey, this could be a good thing. But I sketched the view from my bedroom window, and it came out so good. Like I scared myself. I was like, it's gonna take me so many days. It took me an hour to fucking draw that thing, but it came out really good. Um, and I too, I don't know, a lot of people don't know this about me at all, but when I was a kid, I as well, bless you, I as well loved to play with Barbie dolls, like dolls of any kind. Like I used to be so upset when I would see like my female cousins, bless you again, my female cousins, or like female friends when I was a kid, like destroy their dolls because I was like, damn, if only I could have this. Like I'm not allowed to have this. But I really love this one doll. I had one doll. I had a doll, but it was a guy. It was Chad from High School Musical. And even though I loved it, I was like, I want to do hair. I wanna, I don't. This is boring, but I still have fun with him. In my like younger years, there was so much lacking of different being okay. And like we talked about this once, the sad thing is that different is not different at all. It's just that where we come from, what we are and what we love is so different. Because anything that has to do with love is it's intimidating. It's very intimidating.
No one wants to listen to the youth. And it's crazy because you would see or hear from artists be like, I do this for the youth. And then it's like, but do y'all really? Because when the youth say you wrong, then it's fuck the youth, fuck them kids, like it's always that. we gotta love ourselves so unapologetically so that people can change. Because that's what makes people uncomfortable. When you really love yourself and you really know your worth, and now people gotta live up to your standards. Now that you walk away with being this hated person, but also this unapologetically you person, that person does not know that they have been impacted, but they take it with bitterness. And that's why people raise kids to be bitter like them because they are bitter themselves. That's why, like, what we were talking about the other day, like, I don't want to have kids yet. I know I don't want to have kids at this age because, with all due respect, I don't feel like I'm healed enough to raise a kid. And I don't want to be the type to have to continue generational curses to my kid, knowing that I have not even broken the ones that I know I'm going to break. Like, and I want to be the change that this world needs, in the sense of, like, I'm going to love myself and I'm going to change myself so that the people around me start to change. Because even like what we were talking about one day at the park, like, sometimes people are put in these destructive homes, and these homes of like anger and insecurities and bitterness, because that scapegoat of the family or that one kid is meant to understand the circumstances that revolve around them and break through these barriers that are keeping them like down. Because I feel like God, or our creator, or all the almighty, the universe, they watched us go through all of that, and they said we're gonna go through all of that because watch who they become. And it's like they already believed in us, like, it's so beautiful, but yes, so hard, because sometimes I'd be real ungrateful and be like, why would you do this to me? But they're like cheering us on, like they're really like, listen, like, you're gonna be here, and you're gonna change these people's lives. This is the family that you're gonna have, and you're gonna change their life. And you don't see that until you start doing exactly what you were made to do, which is break these curses, which was break the standards of how I live as a Hispanic. Like, we I truly do believe if that we loved ourselves, like everyone in this world had so much love for themselves, we would treat others differently. If I love myself, the world will change, even if it doesn't seem like it will. Because sometimes I'm like, am I am I doing enough to change the world? And sometimes I meet people and I change their lives, and I know I change their lives, you know? And I'm like, it starts with us, it starts with me, it starts with you. And it's when we spread good energy, it's when we spread love, it's when we spread kindness. And sometimes people will back away, and sometimes people will be hateful, and sometimes people won't like you, and sometimes you got to accept the fact that they don't, and that they're just mad at themselves. And one day they'll come around, and maybe they're not supposed to learn it from you specifically, but that hopefully one day they remember or recall that day that a stranger was so nice to me. And I
We also had a conversation recently. That night we went to the park, and I was telling you about how I had a situation with at home where I had to speak up about the word faggot being used, and I felt very sad for a few days after that, and very like just very angry, because like it just, I don't want, I would sometimes I wish I didn't have to be the one, it's pressure, because again, I don't like confrontation, but us having the conversation we had really helped a lot, like a lot. And I realized how much support I have. I realized how much I can't expect for people to change, especially when I've known them to be the same for as long as I've known them. I can't hurt myself like that anymore, and I feel like this should be a message for anybody, whoever's watching this, if you're going through things with people that you wish had your back more or understood life the way you do more, or you wish that they contributed to the world being a better place more, and you feel like you always have to be the one to call things out, and you're tired and you're frustrated and you feel like you deserve better. You do deserve better. Yeah. I feel like the only thing that's been getting me through that situation is taking care of myself. That's it. It's very frustrating, not being heard, especially as the youth, and seeing what needs to be changed. And so many people are already naturally in defense mode. So when you tell them something that bothered you that they said or they did that is a very highly contributing factor to the bad things in this world, they're not going to want to hear that shit. They're going to shut you out. They're going to tell you you're wrong. They're going to tell you you're doing too much. They're going to tell you that you are a child. But maybe consider that the reason they see things that way is that they're no longer a child and they don't have any child in them. Well, they do, but they're ignoring it. I've been learning how to distinguish between what needs to be put in my art versus what needs to be brought to a physical being, and that's something that I'm learning right now within my practice as an artist, like learning how to distinguish. So, for example, if someone makes me feel something, but that wasn't their intent, or it has less to do with that person personally and my own life experience or my insecurities, then that I need to put into my art. I need to express that in some other way that helps me rather than the blaming or, bringing it to the person when it really has nothing to do with them. It just helps because it gets worse when we deal with these things in ways that don't really serve us.
I think that has a lot to do with like accountability and like sometimes like you gotta be the one to call yourself out on your bullshit, you know? And I think that's what we have a hard time doing because I really don't know what it is, but we're so quick to blame somebody else. Let me not project my insecurities.
Respond to things like, when somebody really hurts you and they make you feel small. I've been learning that it's not that I feel small, it's that I'm acting small, and it pisses me off because I'm larger than what I once was. So the way that I used to act out to certain things, it doesn't serve me now because I'm larger. Like, how can I, rather than try to change the way this person is, how can I work on the way that I respond or act that suits me with my bigger size now? Because we're always shape shifting. Let's talk about rage. Let's talk about rage. You brought that up to me before we recorded, and like how that plays a huge part in our lives. I feel like if I did not express myself in some kind of way as an artist, I would be one of the most angriest people that I know. Like it really saves me. And yeah, rage. We had like a conversation a long time ago, what like last year, and it was around the holidays. You had like times of destroying your things and stuff like that, in moments of rage. And when you said that, I was like, oh, okay, I'm not crazy. It's not just me. I'm not the only person that's done that. And especially you, because you come across as so calm. And but when you told me that, I was like, wow, like you never really know. You never know. And I've been learning a lot about that and like how anger is not my worst enemy. Like in moments of rage and destroying my things, like I would feel so disappointed in myself. And I would be like, you need help. You're crazy, you know? But in all reality, it was just so many things that I wasn't paying attention to. And sometimes your body really shows you that there's some things there that you've been suppressing. You've been ignoring it, and it has to come out in some way somehow. It's not easy for us because we're learning this shit on our own. We didn't learn it from anyone. We didn't even learn it in school. We're learning it from the world itself. And it is tough, but it is very worth it because I feel like I've grown so much from a year ago just because of the difficult, uncomfortable things.
I definitely agree. And I feel the same about you. Like you come off as like I'm really calm, I'm really put together. I don't have bad days. And being that like sometimes you really don't know what a person is going through, or that sometimes you don't even know what you're going through until you are enraged and now you're breaking everything in your room. And now you're like sitting there and just wondering like what just happened, like why did I even do this? Like was it even worth doing? Like I remember the first time that I had been really angry, and when I had like destroyed my room, I was like, now I gotta clean it up. And I was so upset that I had to clean it up. But in the moment of breaking things, at first I thought it was bad. Like I thought like the same as you, like I need help. Like this is bad. Like I need someone, I need to be in therapy. And now that I think back at it, all those times that I destroyed like my room, I ended up taking out a lot of things that ended up breaking, and I ended up making more space for myself. So it was like kind of like a clearing out at the same time, like clearing out of old energy, of old things, of old papers that I keep, or things that I don't even touch, that I don't need, that need to be thrown out. It was like, like I needed to do this so I could make space for more of my future rather than what my past is holding in this room right now. And it's crazy because I thought I loved my room, not this room, my room in Philadelphia. I thought I loved my room. It was real cute. It was pink and white, but it was more white than pink. And when I had asked somebody, like, does this room look like me? They had told me no. Like, I thought it would be more full of colors. And I was like, ah. I immediately was like drawn back. And I was like, damn, like, my room had started off as a colorful room until I changed it and I made it really white. And I was like, and that was the room I destroyed. And I realized with trying to that room, like I was trying to be somebody else with that room. I realize now. And maybe that's why I destroyed it, because in the midst of finding myself, I was losing myself, and that room was driving me nuts. And the white walls and the white everything was just not like, how people like marble and stuff. All respect to people that love marble and love like the real aesthetic of like a modern home, but I can't do it because I am too cheery, I'm too playful, like I need to see colors. I love colors, like I love the way flowers are just fucking colors. Like they're just purple, they're just yellow, they grow and they're their own colors. And although my future home might not be in colors, but it's not gonna be white. So I just feel like it became so serious to me that I was actually becoming more of an adult than I was being like me, who is really not even, I don't see myself as an adult. I still call my mom, like when I'm at the doctor's, like, she's trying to give me the flu shot. Am I supposed to take it? And like, I'm still that person because I don't want to grow up, I want to be like Peter Pan. Like, I never want to grow up. And I think about that a lot, actually, thinking about like becoming old. And I'm like, it kind of like scares
I
me.
want to go back to the hidden being. For me, I'm in the process of allowing my hidden being to not be so hidden, so that way I could be happier. But yeah, I think a lot of people don't know, only like you and a few other people that I've spoken to about this, that I have for a very long time secretly been a performer. Um, and yeah, for as long as I can remember, that's the only thing that even before writing, that was something that I cared so much about. And I think maybe subconsciously I told myself, you can't do something like that. Find something that requires no movement or being seen. And then I started writing. But I always loved writing, but I think eventually I convinced myself that that's all that I am. But that's not true. I never took it serious. Like, I never really thought, why am I doing this? Why, even when I'm very sad or I'm going through a depression, I don't want to do anything else, why is it that at least once or twice a day I find time to do this? Like, why is that? What is it about this thing? Why is my energy being given to this? I feel a lot more passionate about it than I allow myself to believe. Conversations that I've had with you about our bodies being props and what that means. And that's really changed my perspective in so many ways. Like when we had that conversation and you told me that our bodies are props and we get to use this thing only once and we get to only use it in this one life and we get to choose how and what, it really made me think about how stiff I've been in this world and how much that has contributed to my anger and my rage and my sadness. Because it's like, I want you to let me do more, Daryl. Why aren't you letting me do more? You know? And it gets frustrating. It gets very frustrating. I think what I want my inner child to know is that the people that I was surrounded by as a child, that's not what the world is. There's people like that in the world, but I think that I'm so easily convinced that I'm going to be shut down just like I was back then without considering that there may be other possibilities. It's so scary to think about me allowing myself to like be who I am in here when nobody's around. Because that person is loose, very loose. That person doesn't care.
I think it's like amazing to feel, to even feel anything at all, and embracing all that you are in that moment. Like that's legendary. Sometimes people don't feel anything when they perform, or people don't feel anything when they're doing a certain thing or a certain movement or a certain sound or a certain something. Even when we walk, we're just unaware that this body is literally carrying us. Like it literally is so effortlessly living, and we don't know it, but we just want to be who we hide, you know? Like I think there's a song like that, and it goes like, all we do is think about the feelings that all we do is think about the feelings that we hide, something like that. And I think about that a lot because I'm like, damn, like it's true. Like my brain, my mind is always thinking about all this extra stuff that I'm not speaking, but my body wants to tell the story because my body is, like as you said, like a prop, an instrument to me. So I can pick up this instrument and let it tell my story, a story I can't further articulate with my words because I'm not ready for that. And I think that like your performer, your artist, you know, finds home in performing because it knows what it feels like to feel good, you know? Like when I've ever been depressed or sad or mad, I turn to dance. But when I'm also happy, because my body remembers dance as all those emotions. So like I run to dance and I run to performing because in this moment I get to be whoever I say I am, you know? I'm gonna be Beyonce because I know Beyonce is empowering. I'm gonna be Britney Spears and I'm gonna sing and lip sync Toxic because that's my shit, you know? Like and like it makes you feel good. It makes your body feel good. Like it makes your heart feel happy because when when it comes to performing, when it comes to dancing, when it comes to entertaining, you're giving back to the world. You're giving back to the environment around you. Like my space loves me for what I give back to it rather than me occupying a space and being another furniture in the room. You know, now I'm taking up space, but rather me be a prop and give back to the space, make the space a little more animated. And that's what performing does. Like it brings animation to life. And you know, sometimes I envision myself dancing and I'm not dancing how me now dances. And I'm like, damn, like same as you, like Mel, like why can I see you doing all these things, but you're not doing them, you know? And I think it comes from all this blocked energy where it's like, I need to let go. I need to release. I need to, my hips, I'm always talking about my hips don't open like that. And like my back is hurting, like, you know, because injuries are real and stuff like that. But in my mind, I'm invincible, you know? And it feels like our imagination makes us believe like it's possible and don't let it go just because in reality it's just a dream. Be unapologetically you, because I feel like if you don't judge you, I'm pretty sure other people won't either. Now don't get me wrong, there's gonna be people that do, but they're gonna be way less than the people that are actually gonna believe you and believe in you. You know, like those people are going to be like, yes, because they believe you. There's going to be those people that judge you only because they don't like themselves. That has nothing to do with you. So when you are just you, when you say the things that you want to say and you be who you want to be and you be that performer, you be this loose goose in this real world, you don't know how much the world needs it, you know, how much the world would love to see you and all that you are, you know, because the world may not know it yet, but the world is going to love you, you know, like, and you have to believe that they will, but first believe that you love yourself, because then you'll really know, like, damn, like, the world is going to love me, you know, because I love myself. And once you know that, like, wow, like, I'm Daryl, you know, there's no other Daryl in this world. There's no other Daryl in this world, no same duplicate of DNA anywhere. You have this mom and this dad, and there's only one you. And I think there's something to honor and to feel special. And if you want to be that crazy person, be that crazy person, because it's seen as crazy, but it's really you, and the people that love you and want to play with you will play with you, because really we're all just running around as our inner selves, as our inner child, I mean, and we're all running to play tag together. That's what we're doing. We're trying to play hide and seek, we're trying to play tag, we're trying to play freeze dance. Like that's what I truly feel like what we're doing in this world is trying to play a bunch of games with each other. And you will find those people that want to play, you know, those people that want to have fun, those people that want to go to the beach at 5 o'clock in the morning and yell and scream and get wet by water, you know, like those people that want to play with you. And I feel like we worry so much about what other people are saying, like, damn, I must look crazy, or I do dress like I'm silly, or like I don't know color coordination, but who cares? Like, who said like what is right, what is wrong? You know, like there's nothing that someone can really tell you that is gonna describe you more than you can describe you. You know, like no one can tell you who you are when you are the one that lives with yourself the most. You live with yourself. You wake up with yourself. You know exactly who you are. This person on the train that does not love themselves and is going to a shitty job and probably hates their baby mother or whatever the case may be can't tell you shit. You know, like they can't tell you nothing. Okay, you hate your life. That's fine. You want to spread that energy to me? That's fine too. I'm going to send you love anyways and still continue to love myself, because the world needs that way more than your pettiness or your anger, your like you're stuck in adulthood, you know? I'm still a child. I'm still young. I'm gonna be young forever. Like I love saying that. I'm gonna be young forever. I don't care what y'all say. Like, you know, I'm gonna wear crop tops for the rest of my life.
The word childish is used in so many wrong ways. Like when people are acting out of character or people are being disrespectful or impulsive, we say you're being childish. You know, it kind of takes away from what being childish really is and how beautiful it can be. You know what I mean? And like the term grow up, you know, it's very, very like effective in a bad way. It affects a lot. Like I have a friend, a very close friend, who sometimes she tells me, "Oh my God, like you're so adorable." We feel like our inner children are seen when we're together. It's like I'm still unlearning that habit of like trying to hide who I am. So like whenever that friend says that, sometimes it feels great, sometimes it makes me feel insecure because like I'm still learning how to let myself be seen.
Your friend seeing you as your childlike, you know, self. Like your child like you knew no better, you know? Like it is not your fault of what happened to you, and that's not who you are, and not all that you should remember yourself to be, you know, because your child like you didn't do anything to you, you know? Your child like you always reminded you of like, this is what I like to do, you know? I know we can't do it, but that's what I want to do. I know that I can't have it, but I want it though. You know, like your child like you didn't say, "Oh, let's not be like that." That was kind of more so like your shadow self, you know? Even when we're young, still having that kind of shadow or that kind of authority that tells us no, you know? And like I think it's amazing to be seen as your child like you, because that's the person that knew exactly who they were, you know? That's the person that knew exactly who you wanted to be, but you didn't tell anybody. But that's also okay, because at the end of the day, they never tried to convince you like, oh no, don't be like that. It was the world that was convincing you to not be like that, you know? Like your child like you was like, I want it. I want it. And it was probably hard to deal with, because it was like this desire to be, and then this desire to be for other people.
I really do feel like Daryl is ready, or at least I don't know. I
No,
think
you the first thing that came out of your mouth was exactly where it needed to stop. You should believe it from there. The first thing you say, no buts, no ifs, no ands. It's just exactly that. And it's not even I think. I know Daryl is ready. Daryl might be scared. Daryl might be a little hesitant, but Daryl will succeed. Daryl will be abundant. Daryl will. Daryl can. Daryl has. You know, you gotta give yourself a little bit more credit, you know, for how much you've accomplished and how much you will accomplish. You know, you be that person that you want to be, you know, really like push that person out. Cause I promise you, like, you're gonna live with so much love, and so much love is going to run towards you, because you being you, that's like giving back to the world. You're telling the world, I'm ready to be myself. I'm ready to give you me, you know? And the world is like, like, you know, like the baby son in the Teletubbies.
I wrote something for you. I wrote something for you, and I feel like right now would be the perfect time to read it. Sometimes all you have to do is look up. I looked up, and there you were. There you were, being fierce, being a force to be reckoned with, being powerful, being large, being you. We talked, we laughed, we shared, and we learned, and you taught me about my prop. You are subconsciously teaching me more how to be my own puppet master. Melanie, do you believe in angels? The angel sitting next to you warned me to ask and see where your faith is now. Mine and yours are both smiling at one another. There's a tiny list of people our guardians wanted us to meet, and it seems that they have done a great job with the two of us.
I always feel like when I talk to you or when I see you, there's just something I have to receive that the universe is telling me, like, here you go. Like, here's something for you today. Like, here's to know that, like, you're loved, you know? And I never realized that that was something that I was missing in my life. And I'm just like very grateful, you know, to have such care and such privilege of mine to hear you speak of me and speak of you in such high regards, because it's sometimes like, I don't know, it gets so hard to just see that, and then you see parts of me that I feel like I'm still trying to see, and it just reminds me like, I gotta find this person, you know? And like, I know that I will.
I think it's so crazy how you, like, to me, these things that I write about, I see already, and you're still learning to see it. That just comes back to like perspective and how you told me that no one sees us the way we see ourselves. You know, people see things differently, and like what you are to me, you could be different for someone else.
World said we need each other, and we let the world do that for us. And we were like, okay. And it's like we're on the same wavelength, and we're like growing together even if we can't see that. I'm someone who is so good at writing, but I've stepped away from it, or like I never thought of it. And then you're someone who wants to perform and dance, and then here like we are carrying the gift of one another, but the other one has. And it's crazy because both of us are just kind of reflecting each other in a way that's like, you're a performer, I'm a performer, you a writer, I'm a writer, you know? And it's kind of like we're both trying to find our legs and get there, you know, and get to the other side of where you're at and where I'm at, you know.
So since you admitted that you are a writer as well, I think that I would love for you to share some of your writing because I've heard some of it and it is beautiful. Specifically, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna share it now. So this is like a research process statement that I've made for the piece I've mentioned, about the union of higher self, shadow self, and younger self. Um, but this is what I wrote. The universe told me I am everything. So if I'm everything, does that mean everything lives in me? I'm the homeowner of a mansion the size of a universe. Who gave me such responsibility? I'm scared. She told me every night, ego, trauma, honor, and beauty sit at her doorstep. Boundless they all are. Special they've made this home to be. So, I too sit at her doorstep. I want to become you, I told the mansion, but no response. Patiently, I waited until I heard the sweet sound of the doors opening. I walked in. Ego, trauma, honor, and beauty left behind. It's like the mansion knew exactly who I was, but no one was there, just me. I asked her, where do you hide? She smiled, and I knew this because the hair on my arms went up. I see no one. So then I asked, where do you heal? Now I can hear her laughing. She's always laughing, and don't ask me how I know. But I still see no one. So when can I come? In a familiar voice, she finally says, indefinitely and always. She sounds a lot like me. I'm confused. But then she softly says, all this time you've been standing on the wrong side. This mansion would wait for you even if the doorstep is as far as you would go. It's time to let you know. Welcome home. Finish.
Oh my God. That is one of the, honestly, Melanie, that is one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard from any writer, any person. Like, I'm honestly, like, honestly. When you wrote this piece, what was going through your mind? I know you had a specific, you already had like the specific, thing that you wanted to express because of your thesis, right?
What I envision is like, well, when I wrote it, it didn't first sound like that. And it was kind of, I don't know what it kind of sounded like at first, but it wasn't the story I wanted to tell. And I knew it wasn't the story I wanted to tell because it just didn't feel like it yet. And when my showed my teacher, he was like, just make it even more like less vague. And then when I was like, all right, you want me to be less vague, I'm gonna just go in then, you know? And I started to realize like a lot of a lot of what I'm figuring out is that like I am a universe, and I'm a universe experiencing life in human form. And sometimes I get so caught up in this bodily, physical prop that I forget that I'm a living universe, you know, that I'm literally in motion with the world. And I picture myself literally standing outside of a huge mansion in an all white area. Like there's nothing but this mansion. And I am looking at this mansion, scared to go in, and literally like they're just not being anybody but really me. Like even describing ego, trauma, beauty, and honor as, you know, these beings, I still can't even describe what they look like. They're not humans, you know? They're just these beings, and it's almost like everything. And also I once had meditated so far deep in my meditation that I kind of met this person, this higher self me that I will never forget. And she kind of came down these steps of a mansion. And that's not how I first encountered her, but I always imagine her coming down these steps with like an emerald green dress and like really red, fiery hair and like beautiful skin and just this calm nature, like this very down to earth, but such a powerful, like, like the girl from Sky High. Like you see how her power is like nature, like controlling nature. Like I see my higher self as like this queen of some sort of magical power.
It's only right if I show you a painting like I did last time. I've been keeping up with painting since then, which is good. And it's been a year, right? Or almost a year since the last time we did a Little for the World together. Almost a year. The way that I perceive myself on a good day, or my higher self. And it's not actually a physical being. It's kind of like what I made for you in a way. A little different. There's no words written on it or anything. So this is me in my mind, my higher self. It's you can't really see it that well, but there is like some periwinkle, I would say, I guess. A really light purple, a nice pink, and grays and white. And to me, these colors mean very fierce, sophisticated, resilient, graceful, Fun, childlike, consistent, brave, a dancer,
I love that. It really
and
does show that.
also very someone who speaks their mind with clarity and compassion. That when you mentioned us playing Among Us, I feel more happy doing those things than anything. Like I feel like when I'm with you all, I feel like I don't have to worry about anything. I just need to take time to live life right now because this is, moments like what we've shared together. We don't see each other all the time. We live lives and we do a lot. So like those are times for us to really let our hair down and let go and just have fun. So like playing those games and channeling these characters and being these things together and not judging each other, like it's so healthy. And it just I feel like I'm here on this land amongst other beings and we're running around being crazy because that's what we're here to do, you know? And now I want to read something to you that I wrote. Um my higher self, like I mentioned, as a physical being, I see him as very, very, he's not afraid to wear color. He does not need validation from anyone else. He dances on mountains. He loves mountains. He goes to the top of mountains no matter how long it takes to get up there, and he just dances. And sometimes with his eyes closed. Like he dances. He just graces land with letting love flow through his body. My skin and muscles may have almost forgotten their ability to stretch. My skin and bones very confused as I dance underneath the sun. This is what we are here to do, remember? I remind them. Yes, I think we do remember. My skin and bones feeling these very sentimental movements as I bend, unbend, lean back, slant, pull up into the sky, push forward, bend my back, spin, kneel, get back up, reach more to the sky, and repeat, all underneath the sun. We are doing this, it is happening, and we almost forgot what this was. I close my eyes and suddenly I am being watched. When I close my eyes, I am watching myself, losing my balance and stumbling in my back step. I feel overjoyed and I start to giggle. I giggle a weightless giggle. I giggle an easy giggle that leads to an easy sigh, which leads to more giggling. My giggling settles into smiling, and me, my skin, and my bones take it from the top. The sun being an illuminating spotlight, and with my eyes closed, me being a wonderful audience.
It's like almost that simple thing that we forget to do is like fucking live. And it's like when you talk about like that first sentence that you said, my skin and muscles almost forgot how to stretch. Like I really felt that. I'm like, oh, like no lie, like yeah, like wow. Like it's funny because you talk about your high self dances on mountains. You were definitely doing that. It may not have been Mount Everest, but it was a mountain to me, you know? So I think that's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. I am very grateful for you doing this with me again. And I'm happy because out of everyone, I really wanted you to do this with me again because obviously we developed a friendship. We're developing a friendship. And we've learned a lot more about each other. And last time it was kind of us really getting to know each other and getting to know each other as artists. And now I really wanted to share with everybody one what we've learned from each other and also get to know each other a little more. And you shared your writing, which excites me.
I'm glad I shared it too, like beyond the fact that like it's gonna go to my school to read, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like now inspired to really say that story now because, you know, I think it's worth more than I was giving it credit. Like I thought I was just gonna live in my Google Docs. I'm just gonna stay there and, probably go alongside of my project, but I wasn't putting too much thought into it until I realized like no, like Daryl said it was good, so it must be good.
The things that we do, we're just sitting around and we let ourselves do it. We really don't realize how good it is sometimes, and like that is beautiful, Melanie. Like honestly, I'm very grateful to have heard it, and I'm excited for other people to hear it and read it. Yeah, it's special. You're special.
Thank you.
I think it's time to wrap up. Thank you for sharing your truth with me again, Melanie. It
Yeah,
means so much to me, and thank you for sharing it with everybody else. And I hope that somebody resonates with you or me in any way possible. I'm Daryl,
I'm Melanie.
and this has been A Little for the World.
What a surprise! You have opened my eyes. I see love, powers in you. Such a beautiful view of the world. Healing is real. You recreate what you feel through your words.